We got a new phone to talk a little bit about. Not that it's out, but it's at least starting to be teased now. Nothing Phone 2A. So we already had Nothing Phone 1, Nothing Phone 2. They make headphones now. They're starting to branch out their portfolio a little bit, and it looks like the next thing they're going to do is a 2A, which I think we all assume is a budget phone, a cheaper phone. That's what Pixel did with A. That's what they probably should do with a cheaper phone. So Nothing Phone 2A, March 5th is when it's getting unveiled. And they have this like teaser video. It's around MWC. We'll probably get pricing around there. And there's a bunch of rumors flying around about what exactly they would do to make a cheaper Nothing phone. One of the big rumors, of course, is knocking down that SoC. So there's a rumor saying it could be a MediaTek Dimensity 7200, which I haven't personally benchmarked. I don't think I have experience with a phone with that chipset, but if it's a MediaTek Dimensity chip, let's say it's pretty safe to assume it's not on the level of a Qualcomm Snapdragon chip, like a Gen 8, Gen 2, or 8 Gen 3.
I think it's definitely not going to have all the same AI features.
Definitely won't. Exactly.
At a minimum.
Yeah.
Really?
It will probably also have hardware cut downs, like from the camera. It looks like, based on like some wireframe stuff and people doing renders based on leaks, it probably won't have wireless charging, I'm guessing. It'll still look like a Nothing phone. But yeah, it's going to have to find ways to cut down on certain things and still deliver a Nothing phone-esque thing. This is like, how do you make a Rivian R2 that doesn't feel like you're taking away too much character from the Rivian R1?
Make it see-through.
Make it see-through.
Give it a Bluetooth speaker.
So the render, from what I've seen, seems like it's based on a mix of this tweet from someone named Dylan Russell that it seems to be like a video almost of like a feature set that would be inside of Android showing how something works. I'm sure you've seen leaks like that before. And it briefly shows the back of the phone and some of the glyphs in this like washed out white version. And then along with the Carl Pei video that came out, and in the thumbnail, there's like this whiteboard-esque sketch. People took those together, made this really sick-looking render that it seems to match everything that's shown in those two things we know about it, and I think it looks sick.
I think it looks really good.
I think it looks better than the Nothing phone.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, if we want to try to...
Disagree.
Really? If we want to try to explain it,
Yeah.
This one is all black. It has two cameras kind of in the middle top of the phone, and then surrounded by a circle that doesn't necessarily look like a camera bump, just a circle. And then there's three glyphs around it, kind of like a longer curved light, a smaller curved light, and one straight light, kind of typical
three
Nothing, like
light bars.
looks nice but doesn't necessarily follow any form factor. And then it has like kind of this black ribbon cable looking thing coming down the bottom. But like you mentioned before, and I didn't put this together, not a wireless charging circle. So probably not having wireless charging.
You'd probably see
That
the
makes
coil.
perfect sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think it looks great.
So the interesting thing about this is that camera array, it's two cameras, so it's unlikely to have a telephoto camera. That's usually what they do with budget phones. But the interesting thing about this array is that when the phone is in the vertical orientation, the cameras are horizontally aligned, which is not something that you see on phones that often. And the reason is because when you are filming horizontally, which is the correct aspect ratio to film in if you are above the age of 25, you want it...
I was going to joke and say disagree, and then I just would have made myself look old.
You want to be able to switch between the lenses without there being parallax. But because this phone has horizontally aligned cameras when it is in vertical orientation, this is clearly made for like people that are okay with filming vertically very frequently. And I would bet you that Nothing is probably going to reference that in their keynote. They're probably going to be like, most people film vertically these days, so we decided to put the cameras vertically.
So you're saying, so it's probably a standard camera and an ultra wide.
Yes.
And they're right next to each other, but they can't be on top of each other, so they're left-right instead of top-bottom.
They could be, but when you're filming video vertically, if you switch and you have slight parallax on the right versus like up and down, I think that
That translates better?
It translates better. It's the reason that usually cameras are above and below each other, because you turn your phone to film horizontally.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be more I feel like the left
It's
and
not-
right parallel.
yeah.
I guess it makes sense because those dual reflex cameras are always... No, those are top and bottom.
Yeah, but SLRs... Okay. TLRs, reflex
Yeah,
cameras.
yeah.
No, you have a viewing lens and a shooting lens. They're not like both being used. One is only being used to view.
Okay.
So that's just my theory.
Well, here's
my theory.
Here's my theory.
Okay.
Carl Pay said, "This looks cool,"
Also,
and I agree with you, Carl.
just as easy to justify.
Yeah.
And they said we'll fix it in software. We'll just try to make them as little
Or
different
we'll
as
say
possible.
we'll fix it in software.
Yeah. That's interesting. I think it looks decent.
Yeah, the irony of this is that if we remember correctly, only about 1.5 years ago, the Nothing Phone 1 was supposed to be a budget phone. And then the 2 used last year's flagship chip and was relatively
Like
expensive.
speed running the OnePlus acceleration that we all saw already.
They're like, OnePlus took 6-7 years to do this. Can we do it in 2 years?
Yes.
Yeah, so now they're making an A line again, which is funny. But I really personally do love the design if this ends up being the final design. And in that animation that you were talking about, it shows the timer with the glyphs and all of that type of stuff.
It's
so
like
it has functionality.
The normal one has like 12 glyphs, right? This has 3.
Yeah.
I think they're just like flashes, and then together they make a glyph. I could be wrong
Oh.
about that. But
Well, that's what I mean.
yeah,
Lights, I
parts
guess.
of a
Okay,
glyph.
parts
Yeah,
that
yeah.
can
Oh,
light
I
up.
see what you're saying.
Sorry. Oh, yeah. I meant like there's 3 different lights that do different things.
Right,
Yeah.
If anyone knew more than 3, congrats. That's awesome. That sounds like a lot of things to remember on the back of your phone. I love LED notifications. I miss LED indicators on phones. I miss that so much. So this is still cool.
It depends how often. I mean, we could have this. This could be a whole conversation. But like a big part of the discussion around the glyph interface was like, well, we use always on displays now, which tell us the notification. And if you have your phone upside down and you see that you have a notification, you're going to want to flip it anyway. And then there's the awkward part of like, well, it's a flat screen. So if you put it face down, it's going to get scratches on the front. And so it's like,
Okay, 2 rebuttals. One, everyone has a case on their phone, and I get told
I don't
this
have a
all
case
the
on my
time.
phone.
Well,
Neither does Alice.
I keep getting told everyone has a case on their phone.
No, you're right. I don't
do.
know.
No,
We're
no,
the
they
only
do.
people that would art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of us have cases on our phones, and so when you put a
Us?
face down, a lot of people who are going to buy this phone are going to put a case on it. They'll put a face down, and it'll be fine. But the other thing is, I want this to be a color thing so bad. Spoiler: we're working on a video where we're using a lot of phones that are older that have the little light on them. And that little light is so
dope.
useful when it has
loved
colors. You could program what you wanted each color to show you, and I would memorize. I'd have like 5-6 colors: yellow for TweetDeck, blue for this, green for that,
Yeah.
and then they'd all just tell me everything without me
I
having to
remember
pick
the
up my phone.
Nexus 6 had an RGB LED that they disabled before they launched the phone for no reason. They just decided they didn't want to use it, but it was still in the hardware. So every ROM in the world was like,
hell
we're
yeah.
using this now.
Hell yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
That was good times.
Yeah,
and
it was epic.
even when you had like bigger or like the trackball or something would light up and you have colors, that would be like, that's all I need.
Yeah.
I just want to
Yeah.
be able to look at my phone and be like, I
But
got
if you put a case on this phone, unless it's a clear case, you're missing out on the whole point of the phone.
Well, I'm assuming there will be cases that are like, oh, this is a clear backed phone. Let's give like a clear plastic back or whatever. And then you get to see the lights lighting up in a way that tells you whatever's happening on your phone.
Yeah, I don't like always on display. So like just one. My Note 8 had it. Yellow was a Snapchat, blue was an email, green was a text. That's all I needed. It was the best thing ever.
I wish these could
miss
turn
it.
colors, though.
Yes, that
Yeah.
would be great. Although they don't on the normal phone.
No.
Right? So the nothing normal phone. So it'd be very funny if the budget version had colors.
Yeah,
But
That would be incredible.
Yeah.
That'd be wild. Yeah, I suspect it won't be. I think it will be all white LEDs and it'll be the same thing as last time where you can pick one app where if that light lights up, then you know that one app has a notification. Mm-hmm. Fine.
Yeah.
I got a text.
I still really like how this looks.
How much do you think it's going to cost?
Okay. If I go Nothing Phone 2, how much is Nothing Phone 2 actually right now?
$549.
$549. Wow, okay. So you go Nothing Phone 2, take out wireless charging, take out some water resistance, downgrade
sale
to a
for
Dimensity chip,
$50 off.
take out, I mean, there's still dual cameras on the Nothing Phone 2, so still dual cameras. And you could knock some screen down and some battery down. I think you could get down reasonably to a competitive $350.
That would be very
I
competitive.
think that would be a great price.
Remember when Pixel A launched and it was $350?
Pixel 4a.
Pixel, the first A Pixel was $350, and then it went up.
3A was, the first A Pixel.
$350 would be nice.
It was the 4A was also $350, which was just like,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the perfect budget phone price. But also the Pixel phone that year, or those 2 years, was more expensive, wasn't it?
It's gotten more expensive.
I feel like the Nothing
Yeah.
Phone 2, like the price difference wouldn't be that drastic. So like if they could even sneak it down to like 300,
They might bump up the Nothing Phone 3 price though.
oh, that's fair.
Remember when? Wait, let's think about this. Remember the earbuds? They're just pulling it on us again. They're doing the same thing.
Literally did
They've
it
done it
already.
already.
Literally
Yeah.
already did that.
Damn, they almost got
They
me.
upped the price of the earbuds by $100 or
That was the
something.
best.
and
That
then-
was a pod. It was just you and I.
Yeah.
We were like That'd be so funny if that's what they did, and then they did it. Yeah.
I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that the Nothing Phone 3 will be more expensive, but you're saying they'll just bump up the price on the 2 as it exists.
I'm not saying they won't, is what I'm saying. Because we have
have a history.
of
That's the
this.
best way to predict
There
the
is
future.
precedent.
There is a rumor of what the price might be.
Okay.
It is at the moment from some of the things I've read, it says approximately 400 euros, which is around 430 USD. So it's not quite what you were saying.
At that price, and this is going to be a hot take because people always disagree with me on this, you have to be higher refresh rate.
Oh,
You have
I
to.
don't know. That's not where I thought you were going with that.
You need to be high because like the budget phones now are all 90 hertz plus. If you're going to have a $400
Unless you're
phone,
the iPhone.
you better not be 60 hertz. And I will personally make sure I talk about that.
What if?
and make sure.
Is that a threat?
I'm just saying, you got to be. I'm.
What if they have
in that
some
camp.
other crazy feature that
Like,
makes
I
it
think
worth
they
it?
will.
What if they have a software skin that's based on dots?
Yeah, but that's cheap. You can do that. I mean, you already built it, so you can put it on all your phones. I feel like that's.
What
not
if they
that
made
bad.
it clear?
Now we're talking. Now we're talking. No, I think they'll spend the extra money for the Nothing Phone 2 to be the differentiator in aesthetics at this price. It will probably not be an amazing performer for the price with this Dimensity chip. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be shocked, and this could be an incredible thing. But I don't think it's going to have the best camera at this price. I don't think it's going to be the battery champ at this price. I think it's going to be the one that has sick design at this price. Look at this software. Look at this clear back. Look at this glyph on the back. That's what this phone is going to have for this price as its differentiator.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
I agree.
And if you want it to be the cheap iPhone, you can get the cheap iPhone. If you want it to be the cheap, great pixel camera, you can get the great cheap pixel camera. This is going to be the design one.
I mean, I remember that MediaTek was making a big deal about how its Dimensity series was a lot more competitive than its previous chips have been because I believe that this is their flagship line. And they make a lot of chips. Like they make the chips that go in Pelotons. They make the chips that go in the Amazon Alexa.
I've used a Peloton. It's not fast. It's not. Sorry.
Well, yes. I mean, that's not supposed to be a phone SoC
Of course. Of
in a
course.
Peloton.
I do see their Dimensity 7200 Ultra is going to be a 4nm chip. And they, of course, want to be competitive with Qualcomm. And I'm sure it's going to give them better price flexibility than going with a Qualcomm chip. I'm sure that's very helpful. I'm like Googling trying to find what phones the Dimensity 7200 is in. And I'm not seeing any yet. But I just have a sneaky feeling it's not going to be mind-blowingly good. And that's going to be fine. At this price, that's fine. It just has to be fine.
Yeah. I think it'll be fine.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's like you can't really tell the difference between chips now. I think a big reason that Qualcomm had to stuff the 8 Gen 3 with AI features is that they didn't really know. At this point, it's like 8 Gen 1 versus 8 Gen 2 was the same chip.
A 5% headroom difference in performance is not a meaningful difference to most people.
Even if it was 25%, most people would not notice
but
the
the
difference.
AI stuff is meaningful.
Most
so I think
people are
there's
on
the right
Instagram.
difference. Yeah.
Like, you don't have to have a fast CPU to use Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One other interesting thing about this, and I think it was in the actual video that Nothing posted, but it seems like the 2A is going to be in the US developer program, which is what they did with the Nothing Phone 1 versus the Nothing Phone 2 having an actual US release. So it's kind of weird that they're going back on that, but I guess trying it out not in the US at first, or wasn't the developer program you got it way cheaper, but like it basically was like,
Yeah. It might.
I'm not sure how it's
might
going to
have
really work
network
over there.
issues,
Yeah.
basically,
Test it
yeah.
out for us.
But that was a while after they had launched the phone
Yeah,
one.
it was way after. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess that's a good point. Does that mean this happens later for the US? I don't know. Just
probably
something to think about.
immediately, but yeah, I think their long-term play is probably to get into the pay-as-you-go market because currently OnePlus is slaying the pay-as-you-go market. OnePlus and Motorola are extremely popular phones in that market. They make a lot of money through that. So yeah, the OnePlus Nord phones have weirdly high market share in the
I'm
United
sure.
States, specifically in the pay-as-you-go market. Yeah.
So the nothing phone Nord. That's it.
Carl is
There you
speeding
go.
OnePlus as
Speed
fast as possible.
Here's one last little update. There is a phone that has this chip in it already. The Vivo T2 Pro.
Glad I've heard of that.
That phone, it's not in the US, but it's a roughly $300 phone.
Okay.
So
And now you can't say we didn't talk about it.
there's your context.
How recently did it come out?
Pretty recently. It's a Vivo phone. So
What?
they're just
What does
turning
that
out
mean?
phones.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah. That's true.
It's true.
Vivo and Realme, we get packages from them every other day.
Literally.
From a
you think
phone?
that's an exaggeration?
It's not.
Literally.
Yeah.
Every couple days.
Realme and Redmi, we just get packages every other day of another version of a phone I've never.
Or just the same one.
This was
Or
September.
the same one.
Or it's the same one.
But it'll have like Coke icons.
That's true.
Okay, but that went hard though.
That was sick.
No, the sounds on that one.
Yeah.
Coke sounds. Yeah, this one came out in September. It had 128 gigs of storage or 256, Android 13, 120 hertz refresh rate, 8 gigs of RAM.
Wow.
It runs Fun Touch OS.
Nice.
So there you go.
That's an unfortunate name.
That's an unfortunate name. Yeah. Hey, thanks for watching this past clip. Before you decide what to do now, I just want you to think about, there's buttons all over the page. You don't know what to click, but what would Taylor Swift click? Let's think about that.
While we were thinking about it, Scooter Braun actually sold our Waveform masters to another label, and so we're re-recording this episode as the Waveform version.
Ellis's version.
Ellis's version. But you should still like and subscribe.
That's the version we all
It's
want.
very clear that that's what Taylor would want you to do.
Waveform episode 213, Ellis's version.
I would subscribe.